Time for our sports legal segment. Every week we are joined by Frank Walker, frankwalkerlaw.com, right here in Western PA. Frank, welcome back, and as always, tell folks what you're all about.
Thanks again. I appreciate you having me. I'm a criminal defense attorney in Western Pennsylvania, primarily Pittsburgh, work in Allegheny County, Beaver, Westmoreland, all the surrounding counties. Focus primarily on criminal defense, also do a little bit of personal injury. Feel free to give me a call. Check me out online, frankwalkerlaw.com, or give me a call, 412-532-6805.
A name you can trust right here locally. And, as far as personal injury, boy, we had a huge story a few months ago, early part of the baseball season coming out of Dodger Stadium with the Brian Stowe beating. And this case continues to unravel, Frank. The latest, the court documents have been detailing all that went on here. What do you make of this case, and how long and drawn out will this court proceeding be?
Well, personal injury cases are primarily long because of the statute of limitations. Normally you have about 2 years to bring the claim to court. So in those 2 years, you find a lot of witnesses, you do a lot of discovery, and you find out more things that you didn't know prior to filing the lawsuit. For example, different witnesses, cameras, any video available, any pictures available, any statements available that people may have given to other people. And now you have the advent of cell phones and digital cameras and people just taking all types of footage all over the place. And all that comes out during discovery. But the reason it's taking so long is you just have all this information and more information is coming out. And then also I think it kind of speaks to the environment of just the sports rage. I don't know what it was over, but I think it was right after the game.
Yeah.
The guy was on his sister's car or something, and Stowe and his friends are walking by, and all of a sudden he just started beating on him. It's insane that we have to go through these things. Some of these events you would like to take your family to, but who would take the family out and expose them to events like this?
Right, or be wearing rival jerseys, and or people that just can't keep it as a game. It becomes an ego thing, I guess, a street credibility deal. And I guess one of the latest developments is Matthew Lee, who's one of the men with Brian Stowe, and he was also attacked. He was going to be a key witness. He died over the weekend from an allergic reaction and just from eating a peanut. This is crazy, but how drastic could that affect the case, losing one of the key witnesses?
Yeah, very, very well. It can impact the case very much so. But I imagine some of the attorneys in the case have already taken depositions, hopefully have taken depositions and preserved his testimony. And that testimony can be read in the court. It won't be as effective as live testimony, but it's one of the exceptions to the hearsay rule wherein you cannot allow outside testimony from a person who is not present who's available to talk but just not present to talk. But in this instance, it will be one of the exceptions, and they can just read in his testimony. But it should be okay, but I don't think it will be as impactful as having the live testimony there at trial.
Now, one of the suspects, Luis Sanchez, who is a 29-year-old guy, his father was interviewed, and he says that he is frustrated with the coverage from the media and wants to speak out but has been told by lawyers not to. His quote was, "It's on the tip of my tongue. I want to but cannot comment." Makes sense to you in this whole case that would be the advice the lawyers are giving him?
Yeah, I always tell my clients just to remain silent, whether it's criminal or civil or personal injury, it doesn't matter. Remain silent and let's formulate your response to make sure it lies in with our theme of the case. Because a lot of times people speak out of turn. They're thinking, oh, they're helping out the case. Well, he had been drinking, or he hadn't been drinking, or he wouldn't have done this had this person done this. And next thing you know, you've walked yourself into a trap to where they play that statement at trial, and it's taken out of context. A lot of people, the phrase "taken out of context," it's overused, I think. But in this instance, it could be true because they will only take that clip of what you said. They won't take the entire sentence. They won't take your entire speech or your rhetoric of what you've said through an entire interview. They'll take that one clip of what you said and play it over and over and over again.
Right.
Instead of getting everything into context of what you actually meant and why you were saying that. So in this instance, I can understand the attorney saying, look, remain silent. Let's get together. If you want to have a press conference, we'll do that. But in general, while you're waiting on trial, number one, the rules prevent us from talking about it while we're in trial and in litigation. And afterwards, we can air it all out. But let's not give them a fair shot of what we're going to say, number one. And two, give them a chance to respond to it before we even say it.
Frank Walker is our attorney here at Trib Live Radio. He does sports legal with us every week here on TribLive.com. And FrankWalkerLaw.com is the site you want to get to. Sanchez has a criminal past. He's got a rap sheet that includes battery on a spouse back in 2003. He had a year-long domestic violence case. How much into play will his history come into this thing?
Well, it depends if he takes the stand. If he takes the stand and says, "Hey, I'm not a violent person. I would never do something like that," then obviously those past instances that would go against him to impeach his credibility.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't take the stand and none of that information comes in, that information probably won't come in because it would be prejudicial against him to bring up stuff where he doesn't even have a chance to defend himself. Now, again, if he gets up there and says, "Hey, I'm not a violent person. I would never do anything like that. I would never beat people. I would never harm anyone." Oh, well, wait a minute. Are you saying that back in 2003 when you were convicted of such and such, that was a mistake and you've never done that? Then it speaks to his credibility.
Yeah. Speaking of credibility, in the NBA there is a legal battle going on between the players and the owners. The lockout is on, and the commissioner is going to take zero money from a pay status during this stretch. He has an 8-figure salary, but he's going down to $0. Does this affect the proceedings in any way?
Well, I think it's more of a play to the press because I think the significance is he's going to take zero salary.
All right.
that doesn't include incentives and every time he gets paid $100,000 to speak at an event or show up at an event. And for someone who's making upwards, I think it's estimated anywhere between $15 to $23 million a year. I think it's $500,000 from each licensed team. I mean, if you're taking $0, him taking $0 for a year, I'm pretty sure he'll be okay. But someone like me, who doesn't make that type of money, me taking $0, that's going to hurt me. So I guess from a credibility standpoint, I think it's just a play. Say, I'm willing to do this. You guys should be willing to do something. Well, look, buddy, you're making millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
If you're not taking money for a year, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's crying about or feeling sorry for David Stern. By the way, have you received any calls from Saudi Arabia, Frank? Because there's a youth baseball team that needs represented. They have been denied entrance to the Little League World Series in Williamsport because of discrepancies in visas over players' ages and birth dates. I think we need you on this case.
If I were licensed over there, I would definitely try to help them out. I think what happened is they're really scrutinizing the players and the birth certificates and everything. I think, what was the kid's name back from the Bronx? It was Danny
Almonte.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think since that incident, I think they've really tried to tighten up on it and take a look at everything. I think it's sad. I mean, from the player standpoint, so they don't miss this opportunity. But I think there's lessons in everything, especially with the team who were permitted to go because of the loss, because of disqualification. Now, some people may say, well, look, why are you rewarding the team who already lost? They didn't earn their way in there. What are you teaching the kids? What else teaches the kids about opportunity? I mean, if you do the right things and you abide by the rules, sometimes you get an opportunity you wouldn't ordinarily would have received, but you're in a position to get an opportunity, you get a second chance, make the most of it. And to the kids who were disqualified, it teaches them a lesson also. You have to play by the rules. You have to maintain your status quo, abide by the rules, do what you're supposed to do, and then you'll have an opportunity to move forward.
Yeah, even Barack Obama was pressured into showing his birth certificate, right? I mean,
yeah. Exactly.
Half the members of the Pirates, I'm sure, are 5 years older than their claim to be. I mean, all these Dominican guys coming in, it's pretty interesting, man. Well,
yeah.
Hey, I know it's been a busy summer for you, but you got time for people if they need some help?
Absolutely. They can visit me. My website's up 24/7. FrankWalkerLaw.com. They can call me. My 800 number is online, 1-800-496-4143. Operators are standing by 24 hours a day, or just call me locally. If you're in Pittsburgh area, 412-532-6805.
Frank Walker, he's there for you here in Western PA. Frank, thanks for your time, man.
Appreciate it, Ken.
Sports Legal every week with Frank Walker, FrankWalkerLaw.com. I'm Ken Laird. It's Trib Live Radio.